You just got a new Tesla, but every winter a silent killer lurks around, and that is winter salt. So is there a way to prevent some of those damages from happening? Let's find out. So winter is actually not the problem, but it's what happens during winter months. And I want to be honest with you, we live in Chattanooga and it gets cold. I don't know, it's been cold for a while lately actually when we've been shooting this, but it probably snows once or twice a year. But if you're in the northern part of the country, you're gonna have snow for months at a time. And when you have that, they salt the roads, right? It's obviously not Himalayan pink salt. And this is not sponsored by them at all. But if they want to, let me know. But the salt basically will stick into, while you're driving in the slush and all that madness, it's basically going to stick and create streaks around the bottom part, the suspension, the wheels, and all that. And look, I'm no scientist, but basically what salt does, it creates electrolytes, and it makes it easier to corrode or accelerate the rusting process, right? And this is metal, a lot of the panels, other than the bumpers, they're all metal. And if you add water and salt together, it will accelerate rusting. And the thing about rusting is, once it starts, it does start to worsen. So the best way to prevent all that, or just prevent from any additional damage, is to do your best to prevent rust in the first place. So here's the thing, you can see this isn't necessarily road salt or anything like that, but I just took out my covers and you can see that it is covered in dust. Needless to say, we need to wash this. But this is kind of an example of what will happen, but it'll be salt, and salt will corrode the metal a lot faster, right? The undercarriage right here, right? Teslas and EVs have batteries, and typically they do actually put like a coating on top on the bottom undercarriage and all that stuff. And then all the other ones are composites, right? That's why they're not metal. But if there's a lot right there, it could corrode over time. And actually so much that if you look at the maintenance on Tesla's maintenance portion of their website, they actually talk about what they would do if they were to kind of spray like anti-corrosive spray underneath the body, right? So they actually do that as well. Brakes is another one. We don't use it because we have regen, right? But that's an area that you kind of want to clean. And then of course, the rockers and underneath, you know, the doors is also going to be a really big factor, especially in the Model 3. The Model Y sits a little bit higher, right? Or the Model X or any of the SUVs. But the Model 3 is so low to the ground, Model S is so low to the ground, and there's a lot of paint in that area. So I think that will be an issue. So with that being said, I know that was a long intro, but you know, how do you protect it? So the first thing that I would actually recommend is using mud flaps. So if you get under right here, this is obviously not salt, but you can see some mud streaks right here that goes all the way across, and you can see how this kicks up, goes all the way here. I don't have mud flaps on this one. This is not necessarily a daily driver, this is more of a shop car, but you could put a mud flap right here. It sits a little bit underneath. It would actually catch a lot of that from going into the front part of the rocker and then the fender as well. Same thing on the rear. Typically mud flaps are sold in sets, so you'd also get one for the front and then also the rear. So that is the first thing that I think you can do. The second thing that you can do is paint protection film. So PPF is a polyurethane. It is a pretty thick, 8 mil thick film. And it's a physical film that actually sits on top of the vehicle, right, on the paint and clear coat that actually protects from, you know, even if there's salt on there, instead of it eating through, you know, the clear coat or the paint, it's going to eat through a little bit of the paint protection film, and that's fine. That's a sacrificial layer that you're basically putting. So typically what I usually recommend is, like, most people don't necessarily need to do like the full PPF, to be honest, but at the minimum, if you are wanting to protect your car, definitely do the front, right, which is like the hood, fender, bumper. And then you also want to do the rocker right here. And if you don't want to do any of that at the minimum, what I recommend to do is like the rocker, or if that's too much for you too, you could do something called a mini rocker, at least sits in the back right here. That is where a lot of the damages happen. So I think when you have PPF, it'll make the washing a lot easier. It already has a hydrophobic layer, and if you want to take it further, you could even ceramic coat it as well. The ceramic coating does help, but it's not a physical layer of film on top of your car, right? It's an actual, like, it's a coating, and it's very, very thin, so it doesn't have necessarily the strength and the ability as much as it does as paint protection film. So I think that is a really easy way to protect your car from the winter. You could do this at a shop, but you could also have DIY options. So if you want to do DIY options, let us know. You can visit our website at DIYWrapClub.com and get your kits right there. So lastly, washing your car during the winter is hard because it's very, very cold. So what we typically recommend is having something what we call like a rinseless wash or waterless wash. You call it, I mean, there's water here, but what this does is it's also called quick detailer. This is ours. You want to basically get rid of some of the salt before it completely, I mean, it stays there for weeks and weeks and weeks, right? So for example, I have some dirt right here. What you can do is just kind of spray this. And this, what this does is it encapsulates the dirt, it grabs it, it's a little bit sleek, it's pretty sleek. So when you wipe it, it kind of lubricates that area so you're not scratching the surface of the car. You can see it kind of drop down. And then you get a really nice coverage right here. And then you can basically wipe away, go to the other side, and then look at that. Almost looks like a brand new car. So you can see the difference right here, and then you can see right here. I mean, this was a fairly dirty car, and it was able to kind of encapsulate. The only downside is you don't want to use the dirty side again. You want to fold it, use this side. Let's go ahead and get this rocker part while we're at it. Okay, not that dirty, but I mean, I was able to get a lot of that. But now, that rocker is pretty clean, right? So I mean, this is a really easy way because oftentimes you're in the cold, you want to kind of get this out real quick. Always have this in your car or your garage and you can get it clean really, really fast. So now, if you are wanting to maybe do a monthly wash, I think a monthly is kind of like I mean, of course, a lot of detailers will tell you need to wash your car every day, but that's not a realistic thing that I try to tell people. So I think a monthly is potentially okay. Find the warmest time, it might be not very warm, but still the warmest time that you can. And then when you do wash, you just want to make sure you rinse everything down with like a pressure washer or a jet mode on your like garden hose basically. And then just try to jet it down as much as you can. And then you basically focus on your rockers, wheel wells, rear bumper, pretty much a lower part, and then you do top down. And we actually have a video on how to wash your vehicle during the winter time for your Tesla right here. So we're gonna put the link below as well. But again, don't forget the wheels as well. If you especially have the cover, a lot of the Teslas have the covers. So that's something that you wanna do. But you could use the waterless method. You could use, the rinsing method maybe once a month. If you can do it every other week, that's pretty good too. But I'm trying to be realistic with our demographic that we have. I mean, people have jobs, they got things to do. They're not gonna be able to wash it all the time. So I hope this gives you a really quick intro about how to prevent some of these. If this helped you, click on that subscribe button, but we'll see you later.